The Wellness Hour. An in-depth discussion with today's top physicians and medical leaders. And now, your host, Randy Alvarez.
You're watching The Wellness Hour, the leader in medical news and information. I'm Randy Alvarez. Today's topic, what you need to know if you have hearing loss, new breakthroughs today in hearing instruments. With us, we have an expert on the topic, Dr. Mehta. Dr. Mehta, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Randy, for having me on the show.
Okay, so before we get into today's topic, tell me about your center. I mean, who's the typical patient? What are the different hearing problems you see?
Well, you know, one of the most common types of patients we see is the patient with hearing loss. And, you know, the range of patients with hearing loss we see range from, you know, small babies and children who are, you know, born deaf. We're able to restore hearing with, you know, advanced technology that we'll talk about later in the program. And also patients who have hearing loss as they're getting older from different disorders, from trauma. It may be genetically determined, runs in their families, and we really take a comprehensive approach to understanding what their hearing loss comes from and what are their treatment options.
Okay, now you have a female audiologist that we're going to have her on the show next, and she has a doctorate in audiology, and she also fits people with hearing aids. Things like that. What's her role there? Because you say you have a team approach.
Absolutely. She has a doctorate in audiology, and she specializes in not only hearing aids, but really the testing and the diagnostics that go into hearing assessments. There's so much new technology in hearing, especially on the diagnostic side, and she's an expert on that, and that allows her to really fit the perfect hearing aid for the type of hearing loss that a patient might have.
Okay, so people are able to hear better now than ever before with hearing aids?
Yeah, in the last...
when you speak in terms of diagnostics, what does that mean to the patient? Just that they're getting the most out of their hearing aid?
Well, the diagnostics part means really understanding what the hearing loss is coming from, because that's what allows you to really fit a patient successfully. If you really know, you know, what's the etiology or the cause of their hearing loss, what frequencies are involved, and then you really are able to tailor their treatment accordingly. So without that understanding and that, you know, sophisticated understanding of the technology available, you aren't able to produce a successful outcome.
Going into this, it just seems, you know, respectfully, that just hearing aids just amplify noise, and that's not the case.
Well, that's yeah. You bring up a very good term, noise, and that's the thing about hearing is that if you amplify everything, you get the noise, the background noise, etc. But now with the new digital technology that's available, you have noise cancellation features, and the digital hearing aids are able to amplify sounds and speech selectively compared to background noise. Okay. And so, you know, you're able to hear better and understand better.
So what are we looking at here? You brought some things in here.
Well, yeah, I'll just show you a quick you know, picture of the ear, and you know, the ear is really interesting. There's an ear canal, eardrum, and then ossicles. And the new technologies that are coming out, you can insert hearing aids deep in the ear canal, so they're completely invisible from the outside. There's also, you know, the latest frontier in hearing devices is completely implantable hearing devices.
Those invisible hearing aids.
Yeah, and beyond invisible hearing aids, we have technology that's completely implantable, so that that's a permanent solution for hearing loss with no external components at all.
Is that a surgical procedure? I mean, is it implantable hearing aids?
The implantable hearing aids are a surgical procedure, and you know, the amazing thing is that this is the first time this year that the FDA has approved an implantable hearing device.
All right.
That provides natural hearing. You know, another option is the Lyric, which is not a surgical device, and it actually sits deep in the ear canal, completely invisible, without any surgery. You can think of it like a contact lens. It stays in for 2 to 3 months at a time, and you know, you can discard it.
It's deep in the ear canal.
It's deep in the ear canal.
So you implant that with what? A microscope?
Right, or just an otoscope, just in the office, where we can look in the ear and we're able to put it in within 5 minutes.
What are the benefits of that, other than not being able to see it?
Well, the other benefits are that it really provides natural sound, more natural sound quality. And it really eliminates a lot of the feedback issues that patients complain of with traditional hearing aids. So in addition to the cosmetic benefits, which are obvious, the sound quality is much better.
Now, what about, what's the last one? You brought one last model, and then we have to go to a break.
Yeah, the last one is, the last two here are actually implantable hearing devices that are, this is a cochlear implant, which many people have heard of, and we actually get a lot of questions about, well, is a cochlear implant right for me? And this is a device that actually restores hearing in people who are completely deaf.
Okay.
So it's an amazing technology. That's now Medicare pays for it, insurance pays for it. It's an outpatient procedure. If you're at the point where your hearing aids aren't even working because your hearing has deteriorated so much, there is a surgical option.
Cochlear implants.
Cochlear implants.
Okay. And tell me about this. Would you say there's thousands, tens of thousands maybe in San Diego that are candidates for this cochlear implant that are doing nothing? Insurance covers it and they're doing nothing.
Right, absolutely.
Would you say that's true?
That's absolutely true. The number of patients who are actually candidates for this type of device far exceeds the number of patients who've been implanted.
And why aren't they doing it?
I think a lot of it is awareness. They're not aware that this is something that's available. And,
really? Don't people with hearing loss do a lot of research and know?
Well, I think what happens is that a lot of patients with hearing loss are not seen in comprehensive treatment centers. And so they go to a center that does hearing aids, for example. So they try different technology, different types of hearing aids, but they don't go to the next level. And that's one of our goals is, well, somebody comes in with a hearing loss, we want to make sure that all their options are covered, whether it's hearing aids or whether there's some other surgery or other treatments that can help their hearing.
Okay, so this cochlear implant, I'm pronouncing it right, cochlear
That's correct.
implant, hearing aid. Okay, now that has to be done by an audiologist or a surgeon?
Yeah, the cochlear implant is actually done, the procedure is done by a surgeon, ear surgeon.
Is it painful? Is it painful? Or?
It's an outpatient surgery,
so they don't
and
about pain.
Right. Pain is minimal. It's not considered a painful surgery, and the recovery is fairly quick. And within about 3 weeks after the implant is put in, it can be turned on and bring hearing back to somebody who's lost it, or restore hearing in a deaf child.
So implantable cochlear. Call and find out more.
Exactly. At least find out if you're a candidate for it. And you may try 10 pairs of hearing aids that never work because your hearing's too poor and you need to go to the next level.
Okay, so final message here. If you're thinking about hearing aid or upgrading your hearing aid, go to an audiologist.
Yeah, find an audiologist, absolutely. Absolutely.
Doesn't cost more to go to an audiologist.
Doesn't cost more, get a hearing test. The first step, just get a basic hearing test. Covered by Medicare, very easy to do.
Okay, great. Very interesting. I want to thank you for coming on the show. And now up next we have your associate, Dr. Mattson. Met her, and she's going to talk about some of the invisible hearing aid technology and other breakthroughs.
Absolutely.
So again, thanks for coming.
You'll love meeting her.
All right. You've been watching The Wellness Hour, the leader in medical news and information. I'm Randy Alvarez. Up next, what you need to know about the new hearing aids. We'll be right back. You're watching The Wellness Hour, leader in medical news and information. I'm Randy Alvarez. Today's topic, what you need to know about hearing aids if you have a hearing loss. And also, we're talking about breakthroughs in hearing aid technology. With us, we have an expert on the topic. She is an audiologist. She has a doctorate in audiology, Dr. Mattson. Dr. Mattson, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Thank you
All
for
right.
having
Now,
me.
we had your associate on the program, medical doctor, otolaryngologist, Dr. Mehta. Now, you work together.
Yes.
Tell us about this relationship there.
Yes, well, we have a clinic called California Hearing and Balance Center, and it's a comprehensive medical clinic where we treat patients that have hearing and or balance issues. And today we're focusing more on the hearing loss issues.
Okay.
Dr. Mehta is an otologist, so he's the medical doctor side of the care, and I'm the doctor of audiology, so I do a lot of the testing and then a lot of the rehabilitative work.
So let's talk about your typical patient. What are the different categories of patients that you see that come in with hearing loss?
Well, I see such a variety of patients, but they all have one common problem, and that is hearing loss. And their frustrations are similar in some cases, and they're different in other cases. So, I have grandmothers that come in and they're very frustrated because they have a particular social thing that they do, maybe with their church or with their Rotary, and every time there's a group, they cannot hear and they're embarrassed, so they're stopping attending that group, and you just, they're just very, very frustrated. I have, my own father who can't hear my nieces, and he's frustrated. And
so he has a hearing aid, though.
Yeah, he has hearing aids now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you're an audiologist, and your father had a hearing problem.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't take your advice?
No, for 7 years he fought me on this, which
is that right?
in research shows 7 years once you've been told that you need hearing aids.
So people are nagging him?
Yeah, for 7 years. I told him it was a horrible reflection on me as a doctor of audiology.
Okay.
But
why didn't he do it, by the way?
he thought that his hearing loss was kind of what it should be for a guy his age and the kind of noise exposure he had had, and he just thought that he just kind of needed to learn to live with it, and it took my mom nagging him and my brother nagging him and his daughter, the doctor of audiology, saying, Dad, you would not believe what this technology can do for you.
People that can't hear, and I have a father that can't hear, who's stubborn, like a musician, okay?
Oh, my father too.
It's frustrating to be around people that can't hear that are doing nothing about it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so your father goes in, okay, he thinks he's fine.
Yes.
And what do you do for him?
Well, so then, he came in and we did your typical diagnostic type testing. So it's a hearing test, and we're just measuring how sensitive how loud do we have to make the sound before he can hear it at different pitches or frequencies. And we kind of create a graph of how he can hear. And he has a very typical hearing loss for somebody that's pushing 70 and has had a lot of noise exposure in their life. And so, I counseled him, look, Dad, you've got a really significant problem here. We got to do something about it.
Okay.
And the reason why you think people are mumbling is not because they're mumbling, it's because you cannot hear high pitches.
All right.
So
he thought people were mumbling?
Yes.
Were you surprised, by the way, at how bad his hearing was?
I was a little surprised at how bad it was. But
okay, so he puts the hearing aid on. Fast forwarding now. Okay, so he tries it.
Yeah.
What's the difference? What does he say?
Night and day. I mean, he has been wearing them since the day I fit him. He wears them from the time he gets up till the time he goes to bed. He just commented to me, I was just home, and he said, it's just like everything else I do. I get up and I put my glasses on and I get dressed and I put my hearing aids on and I wear them all day, every day.
But are people afraid that it's going to make them look older?
I think so.
What is it?
I think that they are afraid that, there's this age factor and like, it's going to, make me look like I look older, or I'm not as, I don't know, I'm not, we all want to stay young. We want to look young.
But they're hidden now, right? I mean, they're hidden for the most part?
Yeah.
I mean, his is what? Like in the ear?
Yeah, his looks like the one I'm wearing, actually.
Okay, let's take a look at that. Turn sideways. We'll get a shot of that. Okay, so you're wearing one right there just for the sake of this interview.
Yes.
And now I'm right here, and I can't really see anything.
Yeah.
I guess if I concentrate it.
Yeah.
And so that hearing aid is called what? Can you pull that out and show me what that is?
Sure, absolutely. This hearing aid is called a Passion, but this hearing aid is made by a manufacturer called Widex, and they create a hearing aid that is what's called an open fit hearing aid. And so this hearing aid is able to deliver sound in the higher pitched region without over amplifying in the lower pitched region. And that's really what an open...
But not everybody's a candidate for that.
No, unfortunately.
Because we talked on the phone and you said, my frustration, Randy, is too many people are being fit for these, but they're not great. It's not great for hearing for some people.
Right.
Elaborate on that.
Okay, so this is great for somebody like my father. Good hearing in the low pitches, bad hearing in the high pitches. But if you have poor hearing in the low pitches, this is not appropriate for you because you cannot provide amplification, what they need to get access to in the low pitches, because the ear is remaining too open. It needs to have some occlusion or be blocked more, so more of the low frequencies are getting pushed down into the ear canal. And unfortunately, if you go to a place where all they want to do is just sell you a hearing aid because that's how they make their dollar, and they only care about dispensing hearing aids, then they're going to give you one of these, because guess what? I don't have to make anything custom on this for you. I just have to
pop it in.
Pop it in your ear, enter in your hearing loss, and out the door you go. And then, if there's no follow-up care, if there's no science to prove that it's working.
I asked you on the phone, I said, what's your number one frustration? You said that people are being fit with the wrong hearing aids.
Absolutely.
Now, is this true? So I could buy a white lab coat. I guess that part's not required, but I would get a white lab coat.
Yeah.
And I could start selling hearing aids in about a month.
Yeah.
Or as soon as I get my license.
You just have to have a high school diploma and pass a state test, and then you could join the hearing healthcare professional world and sell hearing aids.
All right. Okay, so the two categories, the people that are doing nothing about their hearing loss, like your father.
Yes.
Is he like a lot of people, by the way? Would you say there's thousands in San Diego?
Oh, absolutely.
That have a hearing problem?
Absolutely. I think...
what do you tell them? Okay, so their spouse or partner is watching this. They're going, you got to get in here and watch this. Okay, what do you tell them? I mean, how do you get them in? I mean, what do they need to know?
Well, I think the most important thing to do is just go and have your hearing tested by somebody like me that is going to do a very, very good job of testing your hearing, and just let's find out what we're dealing with. You know, sometimes people come and see me and they say, oh, Dr. Mattson, you know, my wife keeps saying I can't hear. I think I can hear okay. And sometimes I test their hearing and they just have a mild hearing loss, and there's some simple things we can do to make their life better.
You say you're changing people's lives.
Absolutely. One that just really has been in my mind a lot recently is this woman. She's only 45, widowed, comes in, says, you know, Sarah, my kids have been complaining a lot I'm not hearing, and I'm an executive assistant. She works at this very high-level place, and she's been working for the same boss for 15 years. She's just his right-hand woman, you know. And she said, you know, but it's taken my kids kind of saying, Mom, the TV is so loud, come on, you know.
All right.
And she's like in her mid-40s, she comes in, and she's worried about her job security. She's worried about relationships in her family. She's feeling like she's, you know, getting older, and this is just another thing she has to deal with. And so we got her, a long story short, you know, did her testing, got her in actually something that looks very similar to this. And she told me that it was so amazing. Her coworkers never noticed her hearing aid, but they said, you know, Jen, you seem like you're happier now. And she thought,
interesting.
That is so weird. But then, she, you know, so we were reflecting on it. And it's like she's less fatigued because she's not straining to hear all the time. She doesn't feel like she's always on her toes because, you know, am I missing what my boss is telling me to do?
Wow.
And so she's not as stressed. And also, she said she's much more likely to go into the lunchroom now because she's not afraid she's going to miss jokes and miss out.
Look stupid.
Yeah, and look stupid. So she doesn't stay at her desk and eat anymore. She goes and hangs out with the rest of the people that work there.
And she's a lot of people, though, probably. I mean, that's like a lot of people.
It's a common story.
That are putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. Okay, so we talked about breakthroughs.
Yes.
And we're running out of time. So what's new?
Okay.
These hot new breakthroughs.
Yes, yes. So one of the huge things right now is this invisible hearing aid. It's made by a company called InSound Medical, and it's called the Lyric. And the Lyric is just a little small hearing aid that is inserted deep down in the ear
So
canal.
with the microscope, you're putting it in.
Yes.
It has to be done, as of this taping, by an audiologist.
It's very much so needs to be done at least by an audiologist, and I actually, now that I've done it, I am very happy that I work with my counterpart, Dr. Mehta, having an otologist on staff there for me, because sometimes, you know, you have a tricky ear canal or there's medical things that come up, and I would be not too happy about doing it if I didn't have him on board.
So it goes way in the ear.
Yes, very deep in the ear canal.
And it could last like 4 months without battery change, things like that.
Yeah, 2 to 4 months. You're just wearing it in your ear. You get great natural hearing.
You could shower. You could do whatever.
Shower, exercising. That's one thing that everyone loves. I have a nurse that loves the fact that she can wear her stethoscope and not have it clinking onto another hearing aid. You know, and getting feedback, that horrible whistle you get. You know. Because she can use her stethoscope, and so there's wonderful advantages.
I heard there's a try-in period for this.
Absolutely.
Like a no-money kind of a situation.
Yeah, so you get 30 days to try it, and that's because everybody's different, and one of the big issues is potential ear canal geometry issues. So is the shape of the ear canal going to allow this little thing to sit in there comfortably? And if it is, after 30 days you'll know, and then you would proceed forward. But the company has been nice enough to say, let's just give you 30 days to try it. And their thing is, hey, if you try this, you are going to love it, and just there's
so no wires, nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
And can you have significant hearing loss and still have this in the ear, invisible hearing aid?
Yes,
you can.
It has a very large fitting range. You cannot have hearing loss that's in the profound category, but if you have, you know, a mild to moderate to severe hearing loss, it will work for you.
Okay, what else? What else is there?
Okay, so there's also a technology called Baha, and that's a bone-anchored hearing solution, and that couples...
A bone-anchored?
Yeah, bone-anchored. So this is a Baha right here, and it's coupled to this little abutment, and this abutment is actually a titanium screw that Dr. Mehta would surgically implant into the hard bone behind your ear. And then it osseointegrates, meaning that the bone and the titanium screw fuse.
Yes.
And then...
And where does that go? Hides it under the hair?
Yeah, so then this hides, you know, up here. You wear it, and it picks up sound, and through vibration, it sends it to your cochlea, your inner ear hearing organ. And so it's indicated for somebody that has single-sided deafness, so no hearing on one side, or for somebody that has a congenital malformation, like there's no ear canal, or maybe some sort of chronic problem with their ear where a typical hearing aid won't work. It can bypass that chronic kind of problem and stimulate the cochlea on the inside.
Okay. Now, if somebody's just tuning in,
yes.
we're talking about new breakthroughs in hearing technology, invisible hearing aids. A lot of people are candidates, but I think the main point is that it doesn't cost more to go to a specialist or a professional, to an audiologist. Is that your recommendation? That means if you're going to do it, because you're all getting the hearing aids for the same, go to an audiologist.
Yes.
Also, you're allowed to bill insurance.
Yes.
Is that correct?
That's correct,
For
yes.
exams and things like that?
Absolutely. Yes,
Okay.
so we can bill insurance for any types of evaluations or examinations we're doing, and sometimes we can even bill insurance for the hearing aids. It just kind of depends on your plan.
Okay. Now, what about this? This particular one right here, is that covered by insurance at all?
Yeah, 100% actually.
100% covered by
Yeah, I mean,
insurance.
depending on your plan, you may have like a 80-20 and you pay for a percentage, but yeah, insurance covers this as a solution.
And that's called what?
The BAHA.
The BAHA. And that's for people with
Either
like deafness in one side?
single-sided deafness is the biggest indication.
Is that common?
It actually is, you know, it's not common like in the everyday world, but, you know, in our clinic it's common because we're specialists and so patients come to see us. We have a girl, she's 27, she just got the BAHA. She's been deaf in one ear her entire life. And she just got this, and she said it's just the coolest thing. You know, she went to the movies with her sister, and her sister on purpose sat on her deaf side, and she could whisper and say, "Oh, isn't he cute?" You know, the actor or whatever.
Right,
and she could have this, and she thought, "This is so cool. I've never had this before." You know, or you could sit in a meeting. She works for a health clinic where she's in charge of administration, so she sits in these boardroom meetings, and if someone leans over and says something into her deaf ear, she can now hear him because she has the BAHA, and it's stimulating her good side through vibration.
Interesting.
Bone
Okay.
conduction.
There's another new type of hearing
Yes.
that's out that's better for language and hearing words. Tell me about that.
Okay, so there are a couple types of hearing aids that offer what's called frequency compression or frequency transposition, and those types of hearing aids are able to take some of the sounds that are in the higher pitches and transpose them over to a region where you potentially have better hearing. So some people, their hearing gets so bad that they have these areas that are called cochlear dead regions, and these areas won't receive sound very well. And so we are transposing that sound over into a region where they can hear it, and that can help them pick up the soft consonants that give speech its meaning, like the S, the SH, the T. So if I say the word sheep or I say the word cheap, can you hear that subtle difference between sh and ch? And
that's what this does.
That helps you to hear those soft consonants.
Okay, so we're out of time, and but I do want, you brought a clip of the invisible hearing aid.
Yes,
this is hot right now, though.
Absolutely, yes.
People are talking about it.
Yeah,
it's called
the lyric. It's invisible. It goes deep down in the ear canal. It's inserted by an audiologist or an otologist, an ear doctor, and
it's not expensive either, by the way. It's a cost of what hearing aids.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's just natural and invisible and no lifestyle restrictions. It's fantastic.
Okay, great. Let's take a look at the clip.
Lyric's exterior is made with a soft material specifically designed to contour to your ear canal. It is comfortably placed during a routine visit to your ENT physician and audiologist. No anesthesia or surgery is required. Lyric's unique design and placement works with your ear's anatomy to deliver exceptional sound quality in both quiet and noisy environments. It uses your outer ear to naturally direct sound into your ear canal without the need for multiple settings or complicated programs.
For at least 4 or 5 years, I was having a problem hearing. And I went to an audiologist, got the information, it was confirmed that I had a problem hearing, and then I went away. I never went back and looked at devices. I procrastinated. And as the condition seemed to get worse, I would go to the theater or a sporting event, and I would have a hard time hearing what was going on. My wife would complain about it because she'd always say, "Oh, which is your good ear?" And at family gatherings, people would say, "Well, Dad's not hearing." So it was finally time that I did something about it, and I came to Dr. Mattson's office. For one thing, if people don't hear you, you get angry. I mean, it's frustrating, and people don't know why you're upset, and so you don't get that kind of anger. I was just in New York for a theater weekend, and instead of having to be up in the first 4 or 5 rows so that you could hear, we're back in row 20, and it was just great. Church, going to church, having to sit in a certain pew so that you can hear, these devices now enable me to hear the sermon.
I never knew there was anything that could be done. The technology wasn't there in the 80s, so I just got used to it. At dinners, I can speak to a friend across the table in a crowded restaurant, and I don't have to struggle to have a conversation with them. I can go to a crowded party and not struggle to hear someone or not have to turn my head when they're addressing me. There's so many little things that you don't even realize affect your everyday life through hearing, and it's been amazing.
They're behind my ear and they're tiny, and there's a little wire that goes in my ear, and it's not noticeable. I can hear birds chirping. I couldn't do that. There's so many things I can do today that I hear on the outside world. I can talk my cell phone. I never could do that. The day that I got my new hearing aids, I was walking down the steps to go to the car. My husband's behind me with his hand in front of his face and started talking to me. And I could hear him. I mean, and I cried then because I was always saying, "What'd you say? What'd you say?" So I wished I'd have done this years before.
I have 2 implants now. We got things worked out, and I love it. Having bilateral hearing is wonderful. I'm a musician, and to be able to sit down at the piano and hear things when I'm playing that I haven't heard for a long time, and the harmony. And I went to the symphony a couple of weeks ago, and it makes a big difference. I could hear the horns. I could pick out the horns and all the 2 instruments as they came on, and in fact, when I first got this and I was hooked up to it, I went home and I sat down at the piano and I started to play, and the tears just rolled. I could not hold it back. It was so awesome.
When I first had the hearing aids put in, I just absolutely couldn't believe what I was hearing. It was like life started all over for me. I used to not hear the words to songs, and I had my own version of what the song was saying. And my brother-in-law had a significant hearing loss too, and we would come up with different versions of music. Like Guantanamera was 1 ton tomato. And we had Another One Bites the Dust was Another One Bites the Doctor. And now I can hear the words to the songs, and it's great. And the end result is you can hear. You can hear birds, you can hear music, you can hear your grandchildren. You don't have to say, huh? It's wonderful.
Okay, good. So if they want more information, call your office, visit your website.
Yes, please.
Find out more. And it doesn't cost more to go to an audiologist.
No.
That's one of our messages today on the program. See a specialist. Okay, good. I want to thank you for coming to the show. Very interesting. Good stuff.
Thank you for having me.
You've been watching The Wellness Hour, the leader in medical news and information. I'm Randy Alvarez. If you would like to see this interview again, you could go on our website, go online at wellnesshour.com and just put in hearing loss, or you can put in Dr. Mattson or Dr. Mehta. For now, I wish you good health.
Thanks for watching The Wellness Hour, the leader in medical news with your host, Randy Alvarez, the authority on health issues.